I want to cut in here before the video starts and say sorry about part 4 of Storm release. I lost my notes on part 3 and mixed both. So with that clear, I hope you enjoy the video. Also tell me in the comments if you like the songs I place in the description.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we will travel through the pages of What If Naruto Had Storm Release Part 5. The link to the story will be in the description below. Now let's start. What? The usually noisy Hokage office was for once quiet. It was as if it were a ghost town and not the office of the village leader. The members in the office were Tsunade, Jiraiya, Anko, and Naruto. The room was in this state because of Naruto's recent question. He had just been told Iruka was killed. Naruto-kun. Anko thought in sadness for her man. He had been there for her ever since he was assigned to her, and she wanted to return the favor any way she could. Tsunade gazed towards Naruto with sorrow. This was the worst part of her job, and it only made things worse since she saw Naruto as her son. Outside the office the sky became dark and storm clouds started to form above, followed by the pouring rain and familiar sound of thunder clapping. A bolt of lightning shot down from the sky and completely obliterated a training ground. "Naruto-kun, you need to calm down," Kasumi shouted from the seal. "Naruto, stop. You need to relax." Tsunade screamed over the thunderstorm outside. "I can't calm down," Naruto retorted with his power exploding off him. Inside his mind, Naruto started to recall all the memories he had with Iruka. He remembered when they ate ramen, how Naruto told Iruka he would become a ninja legend. Now, he wouldn't see him complete his dream. All because of the stone ninja. "Naruto-kun, just hold on." Anko tried to make her way towards Naruto, but was blasted into the wall when Naruto released an enormous amount of power, blowing the roof of the building off, allowing the pouring rain to fall into the office. The blonde paid no attention to the fact that he just attacked everyone in the office and simply floated to the sky. Everyone then looked up and saw Naruto's hair turn completely white and his blue eyes become slits while his body hummed with power. This was Godspeed. "Oh no." Tsunade whispered while looking up with trepidation at Naruto. "Naruto. Don't do it." Jiraiya yelled towards Naruto, who was not listening and only had his mind focused on one goal at the moment. Destroying the hidden stone village. Naruto then took off flying towards the direction of the hidden stone village with great speed. It sounded like thunder when Naruto took off with his full speed, flying at speeds faster than lighting itself. "Damn." Tsunade smashed her desk, angry that Naruto was not listening to her. As a Hokage, it would be for the best if Naruto went and destroyed the hidden stone, but as Naruto's surrogate mother she was worried about the backlash something like this would have on his mental state. Nobody needed an insane Naruto flying around destroying countries. Tsunade only hoped that Naruto would calm down on his way to the village and have some mercy for the village, which was a very small chance since the team was merciless. Things really got out of hand quickly. What was them reporting a successful protection mission and delivery of the supplies turned into her explaining how Iruka fell in battle. She knew that Naruto would react in some kind of violent way, and to no surprise she was correct, and indeed Naruto reacted in such a manner. Jiraiya had brought up the idea of trying to contain Naruto, which would not have worked. Naruto was far stronger than the both of them, and the only way they would be able to contain him is if Karen used her chains, but the Redeed team knew better than to try that again. Since last time, she said Naruto made his own Uzumaki chakra chains and completely overpowered hers and then proceeded to fly through the air while holding her with the chains. So expecting the worst but praying for the best, they got none of the above, and Naruto simply went apeshit and is about to commit mass genocide. In the dark clouds of the sky, Naruto was flying at immense speed with a blank face. There was no bloodthirsty grin on his face like there usually was when he was about to engage in a fight. Instead he was like a calm storm. Or at least the eye of it, since he was about to wreak havoc in only a matter of minutes. Naruto looked down to see the rocky plains and mountain ranges of his target in range. The usual grin then started to make its way on his face while his blood began to pump in excitement. He was about to face a village by himself after all, and he would surely have a good dance. "Naruto-kun, you should stop before it is too late." Kasumi tried to reason from within his head. "I know how you are feeling, but you don't know how I feel at all. You are just a massive chakra who happens to be good with her mouth. You couldn't possibly know how I feel." Naruto retorted in anger, not even caring about what he just said to someone he loved. Kasumi inside the seal gasps and tears quickly form in her eyes. The orange fox ears laid flat on her head in sadness while her heart ached. It was true she was a massive chakra, but that didn't mean she didn't have feelings or a heart, and Naruto knew this, but he still said those hurtful words. Normally words like this wouldn't even bother Kasumi, but since it was coming from someone she loved and cherished, it just hit differently. And what did Naruto mean? She knew nothing. Kasumi had told her about the life she had lived and how her father, the sage of six paths, died, and it hurt. Kasumi had told Naruto about how when her siblings started to get captured, it felt as if she failed them all and couldn't protect anyone. If he wanted to act like that, then he would get no chakra from her. Fine. I was just trying to help you, but if you're going to be a bitch about it, then I won't help you at all. Kasumi retorted in rage. Fine, I don't need you anyways. Naruto retorted and cut their mental link, leaving Kasumi to comfort herself. Kuretsuchi's house. In her training field, the jonin of the village was currently training. Wearing grey leggings along with black slip-on sandals. She was wearing a dark red shirt with a Uzumaki swirl on the left shoulder, while her village symbol was on the back. It was a shirt Naruto gifted her during one of their many fights over the years, and he said think of it as a way of friendship and a way of saying she was an ally to the Uzumaki. After her fight with Naruto and seeing his power dwarf her in such a manner, it made her feel helpless and inferior. As a proud Kunoichian woman, there was no way that I could fly. So the pink-eyed teen was now fighting multiple rock clones of herself with a blindfold on to increase her sensor capability. She had attempted to try and fuse with her bloodline like Naruto did, but only ended with her getting burned and cursing Naruto. Kuretsuchi threw a punch, and the lava dragon rose from the ground and destroyed the clones in front of her. The girl performed a spinning kick and kicked the heads off of 2 clones. The teen jumped back, avoiding lava bullets. About to continue, she paused when there was the feeling of water hitting her forehead. Raising a hand up to see if it was just sweat or actual rain. The liquid was cold instead of being hot like her sweat. Weird, I could have sworn it was a clear sky today. Raising the blindfold above her eyes and looking at the now dark skies roaring with thunder and the similar flashes of lightning. It was then a feeling of dread overtook her stomach. There is no way that bird bee brain would come all the way here by himself, alright. She received her answer when a bolt of lightning struck the front village gates and a massive kai was felt throughout the whole village. He would. She rushed inside to prepare her gear and get ready to go off and fight the blonde. Naruto was standing outside the front gates with fury burning in his blue slitted eyes. There was his trusty moonlight blade which looked like yin and yang, being black and white but always ready to slay enemies and shed blood. He turned to the shocked gate guards. Take a picture, it might go with you to heaven. The heavenly demon. One of the guards said in fright. Storm of the Leaf. The other trembled in fear. Just being in the presence of Naruto was overwhelming, not to mention he was in a bad mood. That was until their fear quickly turned to rage. You bastard. They pulled out kunai and quickly charged Naruto, intent on avenging their fallen comrades. Naruto simply raised his fingers and bolts of lightning came from his fingers and shot right through their hearts, killing them in an instant. Naruto then proceeded to casually walk inside the village as if he was just some traveler and not a double S-rank ninja. Once he got inside, there were 2 squads of Anbu who surrounded him with their weapons drawn and kai pushing down on Naruto in an attempt to scare him. However, their kai was at best only massaging his shoulders and at worst tickling him. What are you doing here, you bastard? The captain asked with clear anger towards Naruto, who simply looked back with a grin that unnerved everyone since it was called the Devil's Grin. Since Naruto always had the grin on his face when going into battle and massacring their forces. Isn't it obvious? I've come to kill you all. The Anbu all shuddered at the cold tone of Naruto. He was dead serious, and despite being one to a whole village, there were doubts about their power. You won't be killing anyone, Storm of the Leaf. Another stone Anbu said, getting his weapon ready. Naruto simply smirked at them. Oh yay, so what about those guys? Naruto jerked a thumb to the dead gate guards. You are going to face the wrath of stone for that. All the Anbu went down to impale Naruto with their swords but only got impaled by chains. Naruto had manifested 12 chakra chains and stabbed all of them. He threw their bodies into buildings, causing extra damage to their dying bodies and village. The civilians who saw this cowered in fear and ran away screaming, afraid they would be next on Naruto's kill list. Naruto didn't even pay attention to them and simply started moving through the village, slicing down any stone ninja he saw, or rather they be genin, chunin, or jonin. Rather they be women, children, or men. All that mattered was they were his enemies, and he showed no mercy to his enemies. You threatened him and your life was forfeit. Naruto blocked stone bullets and turned to the direction it came from. He saw a dozen ninja on the roof shooting stone bullets. Really, stone pebbles. His sights then locked onto all of them, and a rather sinister grin took form on his face. Naruto wasn't downright an evil person, nor did he go out of his way to be a dark person, but that did not mean he didn't enjoy the rather bad parts of the ninja lifestyle. He loved to fight, and the feeling of taking victory in an intense situation was rather addicting, but he tried not to become overcome by his bloodlust and bloody path of the ninja. All of that was thrown out of the window right now, and he would simply lay down his enemies like any ninja would. This is what came with war, and it was never pretty, but Naruto did not care at the moment. He was too blinded by his grief and rage, allowing his emotions to guide him for once in his life. Naruto disappeared from view, causing the stone ninja to panic and look around for the blonde. It was then they heard the sound of lightning crackling, but it was already too late. The leaf Jonin fell on them like a bird coming down to claim a snake. Naruto and his several clones shoved their lightning-covered palms on their heads, causing their brains to fry and insides to melt. Lighting palm can really be deadly. Naruto covered his hands or palms in lightning and used them to directly attack his enemies or shoot blasts of lightning towards the enemy. He then saw more ninja quickly approaching him from all sides, and he grinned. If they wanted to play the numbers game he could as well. Naruto crossed his fingers and in a puff of smoke, 100 clones of Naruto appeared. He could make more, but that would just be overkill, and it would be no fun that way. Naruto and his clones all dashed off in different directions with Godspeed activated and making their way towards the squads of enemy ninja. Inoki watched from the top of his tower in anger as this one brat completely demolished his village by himself. His pride was hurt at the fact a boy alone could do this much damage to his village. Naruto wasn't even using his summons, which would have only made things worse for the place. He watched as a giant stone golem raised its fist to smash Naruto to a bloodstain on the ground. The blonde-haired teen simply grabbed the fist with one hand before smashing him and tossed the arm to the side, allowing the golem to be wide open. Inoki watched as Naruto did a jumping uppercut and took the golem's head clean off. He did that with just his strength alone. Inoki's eyes were wide as can be. Even he would have to dodge something like that. It wasn't over however though, it seems more ninja wanted to try their hand and smash him with giant golems. He's dead now. Inoki smirked in victory but couldn't shake the worry he had in his stomach at the young teen's grin. Demon. Inoki heard his ninja roar before sending their golems to attack. If you're going to call me a demon. Naruto put his hand out and gripped air, allowing a giant blade of wind to be seen in his hand. Then you must say the heavenly. Naruto swung the giant wind blade in a wide arch and sliced all of the surrounding buildings in half, along with killing some ninja and the golems. My god. Inoki mumbled in shock and a little fear at Naruto. He was still sure that he could handle the blonde for the most part, but his speed and shadow clones would be a big problem. The horde of ninja jumped down in front of Naruto and didn't say anything and only charged with their weapons ready to kill and jutsu on hand. Naruto jumped in the air and caught a falling lightning bolt and threw it towards the small army, causing a giant explosion to go off and blow up everything for miles. When the smoke cleared it showed dead bodies and blood-stained streets, a real murder. More and more ninja appeared surrounding Naruto who was already going through hand signs. Water-style raging seas. Titanic waves formed from thin air and swallowed up everything in its path like a starving beast, cancelling the screams of terror that wanted to escape to the world. Naruto ducked, weaved and sidestepped multiple fist and sword strikes. The blonde launched consecutive punches at an undetectable speed, creating afterimages of his fist. It connected with tremendous force to his multiple enemies and caused colossal explosions to form from the power of his attacks. Ninja were sent flying from the shockwaves that occurred through the village, it felt like an earthquake was happening. While buildings were destroyed. Naruto backflipped out of the way of a lava dragon that would have done major damage. Why are you doing this, Naruto? Kuretsuchi asked in a sad tone. Sure she had killed some leaf ninja, but that was on the battlefield where it was killed or be killed. In a way Naruto could be said to be doing the same things, but this felt personal. Oh Kuro-chan, nice to see you made it home safe. Naruto gave her a wave and smirked. Why are you attacking my village? Kuro yelled, losing her patience. I am simply taking out my enemies. Come on, you know how I do. Naruto went to slice off someone's head but was stopped when Kuretsuchi appeared and blocked the sword strike with her kunai. Before we fight, let me get the boss. Wah, she was cut off when the Naruto she was talking to left in a puff of smoke. That was a C clone doing all of this. A blue flash appeared a little in front of her, showing Naruto standing there. Except he was covered in blood and his sword dripped in the blood of its enemies. His white hair still spiked up while small blood drops stained his face. I'd rather not kill you, Bumblebee. Naruto said softly, a contrast to his bloody appearance. Then just leave. Whoever you are trying to avenge should be satisfied right now. You've taken enough lives today. Kuretsuchi told Naruto in an attempt to get him to calm down. The blonde then looked around at the damage he had done. There were collapsed buildings, deep trenches from his sword marks, and craters that could fill up a lake from his massive Rasengan. There were dead bodies everywhere along with people crying out for help. The ground rumbled and he saw his clones launching all kinds of jutsu, even different elements from his main water, wind, and lightning. The village was a wreck and in shambles. The blonde's eyes widened in shock. This looked like a massacre. A one-sided beatdown. Now that he has calmed down and could think straight. I meant to come and kill you guys, but I didn't want to destroy your village, or at least not to this level. What do you mean? Are you not feeling guilty after everything you have done? Kuretsuchi asked in disbelief. Naruto looked towards his friend in pity. Look little B, I came up on the streets. From the very beginning I was cutthroat. I just couldn't have mercy growing up in the worst part of the village. Not to mention becoming a ninja where we are trained to kill. My sensei is a bloodthirsty lunatic and I hold the strongest biju who just so happened to have a lot of malice and hate. Naruto's eyes then widened at remembering those people. Now that his mind was clear, he could comprehend what he said and did to both some of his precious people. Kasumi. Kasumi. He received no response from the angry fox and only felt anger be sent back towards him. Kuretsuchi, hearing a little of Naruto's past, could now understand why he was like this. Being the granddaughter of the cage, she was a little spoiled and didn't really know any hardships until she became a ninja, and even then, due to being a noble in her village, she had many teachers to help her. Putting herself in Naruto's shoes, or at least trying to, she could understand how he must feel. Good distraction, Kuretsuchi. I got him right where I want him. The shout came from the flying old man who had a white cube in his hands. Particle-style atomic dismantling jutsu. The square cube launched towards Naruto, whose eyes widened. Naruto. Kuretsuchi shouted in fear. She then glared towards her grandfather. Would you do that? Why? Inoki asked in bewilderment. He is the enemy, that is reason enough. That little brat caused enough damage in his short lifespan. The flying old man would have said more if his attention wasn't grabbed by a blue light taking over his vision. He was then slammed in the face by a giant ball of chakra and sent crashing into the ground. Massive Rasengan. Naruto appeared floating over the now formed crater that had Inoki lying in the crater heavily damaged. Naruto then turned his slitted eyes to Kuretsuchi. And here I thought we were having a bestie moment. Naruto, I didn't know. Save it. He said harshly and started to rise into the air. Naruto was now pissed off again and didn't want to listen to reason. The clouds above the sky, the clouds darkened and lighting could be seen flashing around the entire world. The biggest storm cloud to ever be seen in history began to form above the hidden stone village. The cloud could be seen all over the world and even from space. In the village, Naruto was floating above everything with his hand raised and palm out to the sky as if reaching for something. Down in the village and really all over the world. People of the stone village began to run away and scream in fear, even the ninja who were once fighting Naruto. Some even dropped their weapons and just looked up with hopeless eyes. What? Am I, GG God? Is he a god? These were just some of the things the ninja on the ground said. Nobody saw a Venus flytrap, or at least chose not to pay attention to it in others. Well, there goes our ally. The white half of Zetsu said. He better not. If he destroys this village, our plan will surely fail and everything will have been for nothing. The black Zetsu said through gritted teeth. Inoki got up from the crater with wide eyes and a horrified face. He quickly flew up to the sky even though he just wanted to get some rest after taking that point-blank Rasengan. I have to do something. He got a good distance above the sky and aimed his hands upwards to wipe the whole cloud out. This would be his biggest particle style ever. Once Inoki got it charged up enough, he launched it with a shout and watched as it didn't even dent the giant cloud. As thanks for entertaining me, I'll blow you all clean away. Naruto grinned and closed his hand. Or at least would have if something or someone grabbed his hand. Naruto looked to his palm that was almost closed and saw a ghostly hand. He followed the hand and traced it back to a familiar face. Iruka-sensei. The ghostly face simply smiled and shook its head before it started to fade in the wind. Wait, Iruka. Don't go. Naruto reached out to try and get a hold of his fading sensei. It was too late. Naruto retracted his hand and let tears escape his eyes. He then looked down at the village below him that was in shambles. This is not what Iruka would want. The blonde once again started to sober up, but this time he would not flip out again. Naruto commanded Junduin to vanish. He was about to turn all of Earth Country into a smoking crater but was stopped at the last second. I have done enough. Naruto then left with a burst of speed back to the Leaf Village, allowing Earth Country to live. Naruto knew this would keep them out of the war for a while until they get back in order. Once he made his way to the village, he just hovered over the village first. He then felt guilt creep up. He acted out in the office which he could see was being repaired. Naruto then saw Anko, and his guilt only grew at seeing the limp in her step and not a limp from a good night in bed. Naruto concluded she must have injured her back when Naruto blew her into the wall. He then remembered what he said to Kasumi and only felt his sadness increase. I'm sorry everyone. The blonde then remembered what his summons had told him and now chose this as a good time to go and see what Hiro wanted. Naruto bit his thumb and did the summoning to send himself to the land of the Thunderbirds. Summoning world. Naruto appeared in a puff of smoke on a mountain peak. He looked over and found he was outside a cave on the side of the mountain that was surrounded by thunder clouds and endless lightning streaks. This place had winds that could blow you off your feet when it really picks up, along with very little oxygen, with being so high in the air. The blonde looked around and saw countless birds flying around letting out caws and shriek. Naruto-sama. The blonde looked off the cliffside and saw a giant orange six-winged bird flying towards him. The bird had a long feather on the top of its head that was blue, in contrast to its orange body. "Blaze!" Naruto shouted with a smile as the bird flew right into him, sending Naruto crashing into the cliffside. He wrapped his arms around the giant bird and started giving it a big hug. "How are you doing, girl? I haven't seen you in years." The now named Blaze smiled the best a bird could and let out happy moans as Naruto rubbed right behind her feathers like he used to all those years ago. "I've been good as you can see," Blaze said and licked Naruto's face, making him smile happily. "You're telling me, last time I saw you I could sit you on my head." Naruto broke away from the hug. This was his home while being in the summon world and Blaze would always come and chill with him when she wasn't training. "So what are you doing here, Naruto-sama?" Blaze asked curiously. Naruto's look turned sad and regretful. It was then Blaze got a good look at Naruto. He was all bloody and his white hair was stained with blood. It looked like he just came from a warzone. "I am here to train and also get some peace of mind." "Oh, Hiro-sama has wanted you to come for a while now, she doesn't like how you kept her waiting," Blaze said with a nod. "Yay, I bet the old lady will try and talk my ear off about it." "Hey. You know she doesn't like when you call her old lady." Blaze worried that Naruto would be hurt and get in trouble. "Yay, whatever." Naruto waved Blaze off nonchalantly. "Let me go wash up and then I will head over to see what she needs." Naruto walked into the cave which had all the things a regular home had. "Okay, I will let the boss lady know you're here." Blaze saluted Naruto like a soldier with one of her wings. She then flew off at great speeds and left a trail of lightning behind. After 20 minutes Naruto walked out the cave refreshed and ready to train. He was wearing an orange wife beater, allowing his toned arms to breathe free to the world. White baggy pants along with white slip-ons. He then took flight and flew to the highest mountain peak in Mother's Nest to see the boss summon. Naruto pierced the last set of clouds and saw a giant bird's nest, but quickly ducked a lightning bolt aimed for his face. "Hey, that would have hurt." "Oh, shut up. It's not like it would have killed you." The familiar womanly voice of Hiro sounded. "It's nice to see you as well." Naruto said and hovered over to the bird and laid in her comfy feathers. "I didn't call you here to rest." Hiro said but didn't make any attempt to move Naruto. "Yeah, I know, but you are just so comfy." Naruto rolled around in her feathers looking like a child playing in mud. This caused Hiro's brow to twitch and want to smack him with one of her wings. "In all seriousness, what is wrong with you? I can feel there is something bothering you, plus I don't see that little fox Kasumi hanging around your neck like always." Hiro questioned Naruto. Knowing him for almost 4 years now she could tell when something is bothering him. "I said and did some things I shouldn't have," Naruto said putting his face in her feathers to hide his shame. "What did you do?" Hiro asked, annoyed. "Just send someone to go and look at the stone village and while you do that can you tell my mom I am here to train?" Naruto retorted, not looking up. "Fine." Hiro called some birds up here and then told them what to do and watched as they left in lightning bolts. "Now." Hiro lifted Naruto off of her with her wing and stood up. "It's time for us to get training." Naruto rolled over on his back. "Training in what?" "We are going to make you a sage." Hiro puffed her chest out and had pride all in her tone. "You mean one of those bold guys who walk around the world trying to speak about peace and get no action with women?" Naruto did a fake gag. "I think I'm going to be sick." "Yes and no, plus didn't you say that Jiraiya called you the child of prophecy and you would bring peace to the world?" "Yay, he also said he slept with a princess." Naruto laughed outright. "Well anyways, you will become a sage, but not like those bold guys as you put it. We would not want such a wimp for our summoner." Hiro laid her yellow piercing eyes on Naruto. "Now get up, we need to get going, you're gonna be here for a while." While Naruto was in the summoning world, 6 people in black cloaks with red clouds were traveling through the forest. "Soon, I will have the 9 and 4 tails. Then peace can be achieved." 7 people dropped from the trees and landed on the grass. This alerted 3 leaf ninjas to their presence. "Who are you? Why are you here?" The individuals remained silent until the one in the middle spoke up. "Where can I find Naruto Uzumaki?" That was something the leaf ninja were not expecting. Sure, people came in and asked to see big names all the time, but there was something off about this person. It was then that the third leaf ninja noticed the outfit of the people were wearing. "Hey guys, that's the cloaks we were warned about," the ninja whispered to his friend. The other 2 then got a good look at the outfits of the strange orange-haired people. "Yay. That's that group of S-rank ninjas after the Biju. Quick alert the village." The leaf ninja tried to run away and go do what he was told. That was until he was pulled back by some unnatural force. Pain the leader grabbed the ninja by the throat. "Where can I find him?" I won't tell you anything." "And I." Pain summoned a black rod and stabbed the man through the heart killing him in an instant. A path with long orange hair walked up to the other two leaf ninjas, who were frozen with fear. "Will you talk?" The leaf ninja then got themselves under control and pulled out weapons. Not a word. The path quickly rushed in and delivered two quick punches which left them stunned and dazed. The path grabbed them by the head and pulled out two translucent objects. It absorbed the two souls and gained their memories of the situation. "They don't know where he is." The human path spoke up after receiving and going through the memories of the two. "We will go into the village and cause pain. Then they will understand true pain," the Diva path said. He gave out mental commands and they all watched as the summoning path jumped into the air over the village gates. The animal path passed through an invisible barrier which alerted the village to her presence. Before the female body could hit the ground, it went through hand sign and summoned the other paths of pain. "Let's go," the Diva path said and separated in all directions. The following moments of the village were complete madness. These six figures were causing mass amounts of damage all over the village and killing people left and right. They destroyed buildings and killed other leaf ninja who didn't tell them where Naruto Uzumaki was located. It appeared that the leaf ninja possessed more loyalty than the figure. They seemed to worship and appreciate the Jinchuriki more than normal. This just meant they needed to destroy the village more. On the Hokage tower stood Jiraiya and Tsunade. The Toad Sage was about to jump out until they heard someone land behind them. "It's been a long time, Jiraiya-sensei." The voice of Pain announced his presence behind them. The two looked at Pain confused. That was until Jiraiya remembered who the person was. He saw an image of a child smiling brightly. "Why Yahiko, I thought you died." "That person is gone, replaced by Pain." "Jiraiya, you know this guy?" Tsunade asked while not taking her eyes off of Pain. "He is one of the three range genin I took under my wing when we were in the Hidden Rain village. Their names were Nagato, Konan, and Yahiko," Jiraiya informed his lover. "I was informed they died back in the war, but it seems I was lied to. Yahiko is dead. And only Pain remains." The Diva path spoke. "What happened to you? And where are Nagato and Konan?" "Those are Nagato's eyes," Jiraiya said, referring to the Rinnegan in the path's eyes. He remembered it was the same eyes Nagato had as a child. "This world changed me, I was introduced to pain." The path spoke up. "You and every other person in the world," Tsunade interrupted. She was really getting tired of these brats claiming the world wronged them. They always went on and on about how the world did this and that and everyone should pay for it just because they suffered. They then made up some holy plan on how they would bring peace. "I shall bring peace to this cursed world. I wish to end the cycle of hatred," Pain voiced with his arms out and head held high. And there it was. Tsunade internally sighed at the whole situation. Tsunade then remembered that there were these three kids in the Rain village. Maybe she should have let Orochimaru kill the damn kids and they wouldn't be here. "What peace is this? You are destroying our home, many innocents are dying." Jiraiya shouted at his former student. "I taught you better than this. It is a necessary sacrifice needed to pave the way towards peace." Pain lectured in a blank tone. "You're a monster," Jiraiya said. "You've changed and it is not for the best." "So Naruto Uzumaki could also be called a monster, yes?" Pain replied. "What are you saying? You'd better watch your mouth when you speak about him," Tsunade said dangerously while sending the man a dangerous glare. "Ah yes, you see yourself as mother and son." Pain spoke up unbothered by the killing intent coming from the Hokage. "Your son kills without hesitation and lays waste to anyone who crosses his path. Wouldn't he be called a monster? Don't even compare yourself with him. Naruto does what he does for his village and those he holds close to him," Tsunade retorted. "But what about last week?" Tsunade noticeably flinched at the words from Pain. "It has been a week since Naruto disappeared and the whole world knows that Naruto went and attacked the hidden stone by himself. He killed many people who were just going about their day, kind of like today. Just look for yourself." Pain motioned for the two cage-level ninja to look at their village that was in shambles. They could see demolished building along with giant animals going around destroying anything that moved. They saw various leaf ninjas scattered and either dying or dead. Tsunade had summoned her slugs in an attempt to help keep everyone alive, but it just didn't work. The damage was too great. People cried for help and wished there was someone who could and come stop all of this pain. "You see? This is Pain. Your son caused the same kind of damage in the stone not too long ago." Pain grabbed their attention once again. "Well, I am also a monster. I have done and killed many in my lifetime," Jiraiya proclaimed proudly and had no shame. He would not allow any slander on his godson, even if Pain was right in some aspects. "Me too," Tsunade said just as proud. Pain looked at them and he was a little shocked that these two would call themselves monsters. That they would slander their names in such a manner. And for what? All because of Naruto Uzumaki. It was then he received the information from one of the other paths. He had found out where Naruto was. "So he is in the summoning realm," Pain said with satisfaction. Above all of them and hundreds of meters in the sky was a six-winged thunderbird. It watched as the village was being destroyed. The bird was sent out and meant to warn Naruto if something had gone wrong during the time Naruto was away. This seemed like a great time to alert the boss. Pain raised to the sky, having seen no need to keep talking to the two in front of him any longer. He had no idea where the summoning world Naruto was in, but he would have Zetsu look for it. Except Pain. No Pain. Pain was now floating in the sky, hovering over everyone like a god. Those who do not understand pain will never know true peace. Tsunade and Jiraiya got a bad feeling about everything that was about to go down. When people flew into the air, it always meant some massive attack was coming up. Up in the clouds, the bird went through hand signs with two of its wings. Summoning jutsu. Pain hovered over all of the village. This world shall know pain. The wind picked up and the white blinding light casted over the whole village. Almighty Pooh. Sit the fuck down. Pain was sent falling from the sky with great speeds, looking more like a meteor falling from space. He had no idea what hit him, but if the words he heard were anything to go by, he had a good idea who it was. The sky cleared up and revealed the now cloudy skies. It was revealed to be Naruto Uzumaki floating above them all with 6 white wings on his back. The skies cracked with lightning while the wind was monstrous. When the people of the Leaf looked up to see Naruto flapping his wings above them, they all started to cheer in happiness. They all felt hope return to them at the sight of their hero coming to save them. Wow, he has wings now. Jiraiya shouted with surprise. That must be his sage mode. Tsunade said in awe. Naruto looked down on the village with a relieved smile. He thought that he wouldn't make it in time, but it seems he did make it after all. He used his chakra sensing to feel for his family and was able to locate them. Tsunami and Inari were in the clan compound, which was protected by seals. The others were out fighting, and Naruto could feel a change in Rukia's power if he felt that strange coldness. It was like the normal cold feeling he got from her, but only much more stronger. Naruto would think about it later, he had a job to do right now. Naruto folded his wings and dropped down like a comet with great speeds, which could barely be seen by those on the ground. His white wings swung furiously and caused tornadoes to pick up and destroy the forest where he sent Pain crashing into. Naruto landed on the ground and crossed his arms and let his wings move, which showed his outfit. It was his classic blue armor styled after the second Hokage. Under his armor was a black long sleeve and white gloves with seals written on them. He had black pants which were tucked into black ninja sandals. Naruto's eyes had changed into blue slits, while he had blue pigmentation around his eyes. "Come on out, punk." Naruto shouted and unsheathed his sword, which had changed. The once black and white blade was now a red thin katana. The blade was red and became a dark blue as it went further up the blade. The guard was in the shape of a yin and yang, but red and yellow this time. The protective wrapping was black in color and possessed a yellow jewel on the bottom. Naruto swung his sword in a wide arc at the trees, which cut them all in half and caused them to topple over. Out came the 6 paths of pain with their blank faces. "You will come with us, 9 tails. Do I look like I have 9 big fucking tails? Maybe you should get your eyes checked. It matters not, you will be coming with us whether you like it or not." Naruto noticed that the guy was in perfect condition. After taking a fall from that height and speed, he should be dead or at least heavily damaged. "You're right, it doesn't matter, I'll just kill you anyways." "You cannot kill a god. And you can't beat a demon. I shall slay this demon in front of me. I'll be called God Slayer after this." With nothing being said, Naruto rushed at the 6 paths with a grin plastered on his face. He threw a punch at the woman in the back who was not looking at him. She evaded at the last second and sent a punch, but Naruto easily grabbed her arm and broke it with ease, causing the limb to hang limply. "How did she dodge that? I was way faster than her." Naruto used one of his wings to create a blade of wind and go for a slice towards the bald head guy, but one of them jumped in front of him and it was absorbed. The fuck? Naruto did a great flap and flew into the sky and looked down with a thoughtful expression. He was then pulled back to the ground and saw a black rod was going to impale him through the chest. Naruto put one of his wings in front of him and destroyed the rod with ease, making the Diva path to widen its eyes. Naruto used the surprise to go for a punch, but the Diva path managed to dodge the hit. Naruto then swirled with great speeds and created a tornado which sucked in all of the paths of pain. Sage art. Lighting palms. Naruto put his hands into the tornado which electrified it and caused mass damage. The same thing happened and everything was absorbed. "That is already getting annoying." Naruto spoke from the sky. "Do you see now? You can't defeat us." Pain said arrogantly. "Talk it up while you can, because it won't be like that for long." Naruto's eyes glowed and he shot off with a boom. He had connected with the man who was absorbing jutsu. The pre-top path was sent flying into the tree with its body completely broken from the force of Naruto's attack. He had used Sage Chakra to amp his strength and was now stronger than Tsunade physically. He was already approaching that in his base, but now his strength was off the charts. The paths were surprised at the sudden speed jump. They had been able to see Naruto up until then. If he moved like that the whole time, this fight would become more difficult than it needed to be. One of the paths jumped off after the figure that had been punched miles away. Summoning jutsu. The animal path summoned a bird with piercings all over. There was also a massive rhino and three-headed dog. Oh, I have my own animals. Naruto bit his thumb and slammed it on the ground and watched as giant thunderbirds came from the smoke. It revealed Blaze, Blanco, Negro, and Hiro. Naruto, why the hell am I looking at a stupid rhino? Hiro asked, a little annoyed. No time to explain. Just do your thing. Naruto jetted off towards where the other path was running to. If one retreated, that only meant it was some kind of healer. Pain shot off after Naruto. He couldn't allow Naruto to take out both of his paths. He shot several black rods in an attempt to take out Naruto, but the rod simply broke on contact with any of his wings. Universal pull. Pain yanked Naruto back down to the ground and attempted to fall on him, along with his other four paths, which all had black rods. Kasumi, I know you are still mad, but can I enter the first stage? Naruto asked his lover, who was still upset at him. Over the week he did not have time to talk with her since he was training, and Kasumi was pissed. Fine, but this is all you get. Kasumi responded with anger. She was still mad, but Naruto was fighting a strong enemy and she did not want to be captured by this fool named Pain. Naruto was enveloped in a chakra cloak which was golden and he crouched down low to the ground and 4 chakra arms came from his back and they all had Rasengan attached to them. Race and rampage. Almighty push. Pain used his technique at the last second in an attempt to block at the attack, but the same could not be said for the others as they were destroyed with ease by the attack. Even Pain suffered some damage since the Rasengan was very powerful and pushed through his move. Naruto let the chakra fade and his sage mode was the only thing left. Until his wings retracted into his back and he lost his pagination and his eyes went back to normal. What would you do now, Nine Tails? Pain said and got up from the ground. Half of his cloak was falling off and he had suffered damage from the attack. Dude, I will just enter sage mode again. Naruto summoned a clone next to him that was in meditation. He then released it and felt the sage power transferred to him. At his real body. Nagato narrowed his eyes in anger. This boy was strong and made things difficult. Nagato, I will go out and help you. Konan attempted to help her last friend. No, I can beat him on my own. Naruto sidestepped an attack to his back and shot a chain from his lower back, which impaled the pre-top path. Naruto was expecting the guy to try and jump back, but instead he put Naruto in a full Nelson and started to suck his chakra. Bitch stop. Naruto tried to force his way out, but with his chakra being taken at such a fast rate made things much harder. Now no pain. Nagato commenced a diva path to rush towards Naruto who smirked. The pre-top path turned to stone and Naruto easily broke free and threw a lightning fast punch towards the diva path's face. Say goodnight motherfucker. The punches connected with the diva path and he was sent flying into the forest, creating a path of destruction. Naruto turned to see the only path left standing was the human path. You are about to die. I could never. The human path was cut off when Naruto appeared behind him and put his sword back in its sheath while the head fell to the ground. Naruto was then struck with a black ball which sent him flying into the sky. Pieces of rock began to get stuck to him. Naruto used his chains and destroyed everything that tried to surround him. He then did a great flap with his wings and took off with great speed, looking more like a blue beam of light. Naruto flew over the giant floating rock and put his hand to the sky. A giant ball of chakra began to form in his hand. It began to screech. It was a supermassive wind-style Rasen Shuriken. Naruto slammed the giant ball of power onto the rock structure. The air rippled, causing shockwaves to be sent all over the place, and the surrounding forest was completely destroyed, leaving only a giant crater. The air still hummed with the powerful chakra of Naruto. Naruto floated to the ground until his feet touched the crater that was now outside the village. It could be a lake and a new landmark in the land of fire. Naruto crossed his arms and folded his 6 wings behind him. Across from him was the panting form of Pain. His once perfect cloak was completely destroyed and his hair was even falling out. It seems the god is starting to lose faith in himself. Naruto mocked. The outcome was already decided when you faced me. Pain said nothing and only readied himself for battle. Almighty pull. He pulled the armored-clad blonde towards him with great speed. I was coming to you anyway, bitch. Naruto went with the pull and summoned a Rasengan in his right hand while a Chidori formed in his left hand. Pain was surprised that someone would so willingly come to him and didn't know what to do for a second. This boy was just full of surprises. No, this demon was truly unpredictable. Almighty push. Naruto was then pushed back but pulled out all black 3-pointed kunai and threw them all across the field surrounding Pain. A little something I picked up from my dad. Naruto disappeared in a bright blue flash and began to hack and slash at Pain body in fast movements that could not be tracked. He was using the flying Raijin and just flashing all over the place while slashing him with his moonlight blade which he now named Bonxian. When Naruto finished the attack and appeared in front of Pain one final time. "Look me in the face and tell me you are ready to die." Naruto brought his blade up and cut the man in half, causing his body to slide into two halves and fall. Naruto then spit on the man's corpse and put his sword up along his waist. It was then Tsunade and Jiraiya landed along with multiple ninjas inside the crater ready for action. You know they always say the hero arrives late, but the hero was early this time. Naruto waved at them until he was tackled in a hug by Hinata. "Naruto-kun. Are you okay? I saw the whole thing. Are you okay? Did you get hurt?" Hinata rambled on while having waterfall tears fall from her eyes. "If you saw the whole thing, then you know that I am okay." Naruto patted the normally shy girl on the head. This caused her to blush in embarrassment and hide her face in his chest. "No need to be shy, Hinata-chan." Naruto grabbed her by the chin and delivered a loving kiss to her lips, causing the girl to go red from the public affection. "And then Naruto-kun, you are always so blunt." Hinata played with her fingers and looked down with a cute blush. Naruto then looked up and saw Jiraiya and Tsunade walking up. Naruto got up and let his wings come from his back, allowing the others to see the big white wings up close. Hinata and Tsunade reached out and grabbed the wings and began to rub their faces on them. So fluffy and cute. The girls thought at the same time until they were pushed away by Naruto. "That is enough, I still have to go and finish the guy off." "What do you mean, he is already dead?" Tsunade said and looked at the dead body in the crater. "Nah, this is just some puppet." Naruto kicked the body. "I take this rod and I can feel where the little rat is hiding." Naruto picked up a rod and looked off in the distance. "I will come with you," Jiraiya said, stepping up. "He is my ex-student after all." "Are you sure? I plan to kill the guy," Naruto told Jiraiya. The Toad Sage shook his head. "Naruto, you can't just kill everyone you fight. You never know when your enemy might become your ally. If they are my enemy, they have already signed their death warrant." The enemy of his enemy was a dead motherfucker in Naruto's opinion. "Naruto, a good leader knows when to kill and when to show mercy." Tsunade lectured Naruto in a motherly tone. "Yay, you can save your bedtime stories for someone else's granny." Naruto waved off Tsunade which gave her a tick mark from the old comment and being brushed off like that. Tsunade then punched Naruto and sent him into the air with an angry expression on her face. "Wow, that kid is brutally honest." Jiraiya whistles as Naruto turns into a star. "So you agree with him?" Tsunade turned her angry eyes to him. "What? I didn't say that." Jiraiya put his hands up in defense. He couldn't fly like Naruto could and would only end up injured. "It sounded like you did." Jiraiya did the smart thing and ran off so he would be safe and not end up like Naruto. He took off in the direction Naruto did and hoped to make it there before Naruto killed Nagato. Naruto flew through the air with great speeds and a focused eye. Now that his mind was off the battle, he would take the time to think over what his mother and godfather said. Maybe he had jumped the gun on this one. And on the other hand, Pain was the leader of the Akatsuki which already deserved death for wanting to haunt him and his fellow brothers and sisters. He laughs at having turned the whole situation against them. Naruto landed with a boom and cracked the ground he landed on. This would alert Jiraiya to where they were. Who was also trying to keep up with him but was not able to. Naruto looked at a tree which was normal at first glance until you looked hard and could see it was made from small paper. So the paper girl is here with him. Naruto used one of his wings to open the flap and swatted away a black rod that came flying at him. Naruto put his 2 fingers up and shot a racing bullet at the person in the mechanical walker. That was until he saw the state the person was in. He quickly dispelled the attack before it killed the redhead. "Almost lost you there," Naruto said with a grin. Konan tried to attack Naruto for almost killing her last friend. That was until Naruto looked into her eyes and she froze from the look combined with the power he released. "Relax. You pretty little thing." Konan froze at the words and fought down the blush that wanted to come on her face from such a handsome man with power. He also looked similar to her old crush Yuhiko. But they seemed to be complete opposites when looking at them from one angle. "Alright bitch, I was convinced not to kill you." Naruto made a chair of water and sat down without having his clothes getting wet. "I can also feel you are in Uzumaki, which makes you my family. So the heavenly demon has mercy, some demon you are." Nagato mocked. Naruto slowly pulled his sword in his lap and took it from its scabbard. "I did say I was going to gain a new title today." Naruto looked at Nagato dead in his eyes and flooded the man with his kai, which caused him to break out in a cold sweat and recoil back. "Don't disrespect me or take my kindness lightly." Nagato gulped and got a stern look from Konan, which told him to follow the young teen's answer. Nagato was about to speak up until the paper was ripped open and revealed Jiraiya coming in with a worried face. "The old man made it." Naruto said and smirked at the Toad Sage, who only gave Naruto the middle finger, which caused the blonde to laugh. Did I miss anything? Jiraiya got out between labored breaths. No, nothing at all. Nagato said while giving Naruto a weird glance. Great. Now let's get to business. The Toad Sage said with a more serious tone of voice and stern face. What the hell happened to you guys? Nagato told Naruto and Jiraiya how his parents were killed in front of him at a young age, causing him to unlock the Rinnegan. What really shocked them was that Nagato said the people who killed his parents were Leaf Ninja. All because of the war that was raging on at the time. Nagato told them how his pain became hate and resentment towards the world and everything. He told them how on the brink of death, he was saved by Conan and given food. Conan had brought him and his dog to their secret little hideout where he met Yahiko. Naruto listened to the tale of Nagato with a blank face. They shared similar backgrounds if he was being honest. Nagato used to steal food with his friends and give it to the other kids. Naruto would also steal food and give it to the orphan kids. It was then they witnessed the battle between Hanzo and the three Sannin. They witnessed the power being shown and vowed to also become strong so they could put an end to all the wars raging in the world. This was Yahiko's dream. But it soon became Nagato's dream. Nagato and his friends had been taken under the wing of Jiraiya the Toad Sage, which led to them being trained in the ninja arts. It was then the incident that had put Nagato's friends' lives in danger. Nagato had struck out in a blind rage and killed the Leaf Ninja. This had placed the boy in a depressed state for a while, making him almost lose himself to the darkness. After that, Jiraiya had pulled the boy aside and talked to him, pulling Nagato from the depths of darkness. After that, they trained for years to get stronger and make their dream come true, which formed the Akatsuki. I have heard enough. Naruto raised his hand and put a stop to the crippled man. I can already guess what happened from what you told me. Naruto narrowed his eyes. If you listened, it wasn't hard to guess the outcome. But how did Yahiko die? It was Danzo. Nagato answered angrily. Naruto sneered and Jiraiya boiled with anger. No need to worry, I killed his ass. Naruto told them with a smile. That makes me feel a little better. I just wish I had done the deed. Nagato answered Naruto. Danzo had manipulated Hanzo into thinking we were a threat. This caused him to betray us right when an agreement was about to take place. Ah, now it is all adding up. I am guessing you went berserk and did something with your pink eye, which is why you ended up like that. Naruto spoke with a knowing tone. He then got up and walked a little closer, putting Conan on edge. Naruto was a dangerous man after all. I have decided on what to do with you. Naruto pulled out his thin sword, making Conan summon paper spears. Calm down, sweet cheeks. Naruto jammed his sword in the ground in front of Nagato. I shall take your dream and place it on my back and carry it to the highest peak. Naruto said proudly, making the others in the hut widen their eyes in shock. Then Naruto, are you saying you want peace? Jiraiya asked in shock and disbelief. Is it that hard to believe? I wouldn't want to see any more kids turn out to become like this crybaby Nagato. Naruto teased the retard who gained a tick mark. I am just going to need you to trust in me. Nagato looked at Naruto carefully. He was piercing into Naruto's blue eyes with an intense gaze. Could he really trust another with the dream of his fallen comrades? Peace was impossible. Why should I believe in you? How can you have faith that life won't change you? Nagato asked in anger. Naruto thought back to all he had done, all the battles and people he killed without mercy. All the comrades he's lost along the way and tears he let reach the ground. If I stopped believing in myself just because things got difficult, I'd become a coward and a bitch, and the Storm of the Leaf ain't no bitch, you know. Naruto said with steel in his tone. If you ever change, it will be a different story. Nagato said and left the words hanging in the air for the occupant's imagination. You really are a strange fellow. You give me a vision of a different future that shows a different path from the one I walked. Nagato brought his hands out of the armrest and clasped his hands together. Nagato. You can't. I must. It will be a way of repaying my sins. In the hidden leaf, the king of hell rose from the ground and opened its huge mouth. From the mouth came multiple green lights that shot out in the air and started revving the multiple people who had fallen in battle. Naruto watched silently as the Uzumaki's hair turned white and looked like he was about to die on the spot. He let out a smile of gratitude. Make sure you keep your word. Nagato said with heavy breaths. He then turned to Conan and gave one last smile to the teary-eyed woman. Nagato looked at Naruto one last time with heavy eyes. Take my eyes. Nagato passed away with a smile on his face. Naruto looked shocked for a second and looked at Jiraiya as if asking the man what to do. Look, I know it was his dying wish, but I don't want his eyes. Naruto said, making Jiraiya gasp in shock. What are you saying? Do you know how powerful those eyes are? Yay, I fought the guy after all. Naruto then got an idea. What if we make his eyes a trap? Hey. My friend's eyes are not some toy you can play with. Conan said protectively. Look, Paper Princess. Naruto said, still not calling Konan by her name. If we just leave his eyes alone, someone will obviously come after them. Which will put your village and life in danger. Naruto told her seriously. Konan knew full well. Madara would definitely come and try to take the eyes away from her and use them for his own goal. But this felt wrong, I mean he just died for Christ's sake. But if this didn't happen, the path to peace would be destroyed and chaos would break. Fine, but what are you going to do with them? Konan asked in a tone that left no argument. I am going to blow them up. Naruto said simply. Konan and Jiraiya blinked. What? He did what? A young handsome man asked with irritation. Lord B has disappeared. A busty woman with an emotionless face said once again. The dashing man smacked his face with his hand. He then glared at Samui. I thought you said, we won't let him out of our sight. The man said in a voice much like the busty woman. The woman looked away with a little bit of red on her cheeks and a somewhat embarrassed face. Not cool. It was Samui and Naruto talking in the living room of his compound. She had come with her team which included Kari and Amoy. Those two were currently off, probably arguing somewhere. Don't worry Samui, I will talk to Jayuki. He will tell me where the idiot is. Naruto said and closed his eyes to connect to the Biju. One more thing. Naruto cracked open an eye at Samui. The Raikage is also called a 5K summit. About? Naruto raised his eyebrow in question. It's about the Akatsuki. Now that you have beat Pain, he wants to know what will happen now. Not to mention the war with the leaf and stone going on right now. Samui told Naruto. Naruto hummed in thought. This is actually a good chance to finish the Akatsuki. How so? Samui asked, she had no idea how all the cage in one position would make this the perfect chance to finish them. Look, there is this masked fellow who is lurking in the background, he will no doubt show his masked face in an attempt to get these. Once Naruto finished his sentence he pulled out a glass jar filled with green liquid. There were two objects floating inside the jar. Whoa, that's cool. Yeah I know. What are those going to do? Samui asked leaning closer allowing Naruto to gain a better look at her cleavage, but he didn't look since he already had women in his life and Kasumi's were bigger anyways. That reminded him that he really should talk to her. It's a trap sugar tits. Naruto said grinning and placed the jar back in a seal. Don't call me that. Samui said coldly. What? Sugar tits. Samui's glare intensified, but it did nothing to Naruto. Now that he knew she hated the name, he would call her that until he died. They both turned to the window where a crow was pecking at it. But the crow was weird since its eyes had a Sharingan instead of black eyes. Great, what does this fool want? Naruto opened the window and the bird flew in and landed on his shoulder. Meet me outside the village in 3 minutes. Or else. The voice of Itachi sounded through the crow. Bitch. Naruto quipped sharply and grabbed the bird by the neck before opening the window and throwing it outside the village with great speed. All they heard was the cries of the bird. These fools go learn to quit playing with me. Naruto patted his orange button-up that was open showing his chest. Was that Itachi Uchiha? Samui said hesitantly. Why was Naruto taking such a criminal so lightly? He was a S-rank ninja. Yay, he's probably here to talk about his weak-ass brother. Naruto picked up a cup that had a brown substance in it. This was some liquor he got from Thunder's Peak. Which was where his summons resided. The liquid inside was called Hensei and it was some good stuff. Hario had a whole stash and decided to give him some as a reward for gaining Sage Mode. That's right, you killed his brother. Shouldn't you be a little worried? Samui was worried for her friend. The woman didn't have many friends, so she cherished the one she had. Nah, Itachi's just a peaceful guy. He will understand. And if he doesn't? Naruto got an excited grin. Then we dance. You're crazy. Samui said in deadpan. Being sane is boring. You should try being crazy, it's quite fun. Naruto then walked to his room to meditate and found that rapping fool. Maybe they could hop on a track. He chuckled at that, maybe after everything was done. Naruto walked down the hall of the compound, he then got the idea to check on his daughter to see what she was doing. Naruto walked to the door and opened it without knocking and wished he had knocked. Rukia was wearing nothing but her underwear and was getting dressed, but she was exposed and he could see everything. Ah. Rukia screamed with a bright red face. Sorry. Naruto slammed the door and ran off to his room. Rukia was in her room embarrassed and covering her chest. Chappie bounced over and licked her face. Stupid fathers. Rukia mumbled while she just cuddled with Chappie. She's going to be mad at me for a while. A thought then came to Naruto. I'd better knock on Inari's door from now on or I might find him jerking off. Naruto shuddered at having to witness something like that. Naruto cleared his mind and sat on his bed in a meditation pose. He began to relax and let his mind wander while being completely still. This was much easier now, thanks to the training he did at Thunder's Peak. His sage training was really hellish. During training, Naruto had to ride a completely raw lightning bolt from the sky. He also had to meditate in the middle of a hurricane until he created the eye of the storm around him. Naruto then felt his mind leave him. Mindscape. Naruto was then in a beautiful valley. There were several humongous hills that stretched for miles. A calm river flowed through the middle of the two overbearing hills. The grass was rich and green along with the trees that flowed in the wind. Man, I sure did a good job with this one. Naruto patted his chest in pride. Until he felt the murderous intent of Kasumi. Naruto looked over to a small cabin sitting alongside the river. Through the blinds, Naruto could see the angry slitted eyes of Kasumi. If looks could kill. The blonde then began to walk to the cabin while the pressure only increased. It felt like 3 mountains were sitting on Naruto's shoulders. Naruto made it to the front door and he knocked on it. Kasumi-chan, I'm here to make up with you. Naruto received no reply from the other side of the door, making him sigh in sadness. Look, I am sorry for what I said and it was completely out of line. You didn't deserve that. I didn't mean anything I said and hope you could find it in your heart to forgive me. Go away, faggot. Kasumi shouted from the other side of the door. Now that was just uncalled for. Naruto said, irritated. Now you know how it feels. Kasumi growled from behind the door. Can you at least open the door so I can see your beautiful face? Naruto tried again to get Kasumi to open up. But the fox was being stubborn. Why should I? How could you even think of saying those things to me? I've been nothing but good to you. Naruto heard Kasumi's voice crack from behind the door and he began to feel guilt rise once again. I was being an inconsiderate asshole. I miss you, Kasumi-chan, and I want to fix things between us. Naruto said with hope shining in his blue eyes and his palm gently resting on the door. On the other side of the door, Kasumi had happy tears in her eyes and her hand rested in the same spot where Naruto was. Her orange hair flowed down her back and her usually well-kept white kimono was in a mess. This past week has been hell for the fox. Kasumi wanted to do nothing but run back into Naruto's arms and let him hold her like he always did. Kasumi opened the door and she had finally been able to see Naruto's handsome face once again. Before Naruto said anything, Kasumi raised her hand and slapped him across the face, sending Naruto's head to the side. I deserve that. Naruto said and brought his head back so he could stare at the beautiful face of Kasumi. Her flowing orange hair that resembled flowing lava to her blood-red eyes. That sharp face and whisker marks along with her cute button nose. Those orange-white tipped fox ears and tails. Naruto opened his arms and like an arrow leaving its bow, Kasumi was in Naruto's arms and embracing him in a tight hug. I missed you so much. Kasumi mumbled into Naruto's shoulder. She wrapped her tails around both of them. Naruto began to run his hands through her hair and gave the legendary fox gentle head pats, which made her purr in happiness. And I've missed you. Naruto kissed the top of Kasumi's head and smiled at the two of them being able to make up. Naruto-kun. Saying that word felt so good to Kasumi. She hadn't said it in what felt like years and was happy to finally say it to the person she loved. Yes. Naruto smiled at hearing Kasumi say his name and not call him bitch or faggot. I love you. Kasumi said with a blush on her face and ears flat on her head. I love you too. Naruto grabbed Kasumi's face gently and they looked at each other with loving eyes. Until they began to move closer and connected with a passion-filled kiss, pouring their love for each other into the kiss. They separate panting and cheeks red and eyes filled with love for each other. Well, now that we're good now, can I get your help? Naruto queried with a smirk. I already know, you want me to talk to my brother and see where he and B are, right? Kasumi said with an eye roll. That idiot no doubt ran off because he felt trapped behind the wall of the village. Naruto gave Kasumi another kiss as gratitude. I'll leave you to it. Naruto disappeared from the mindscape allowing Kasumi to focus on contacting her brother. When Naruto opened his eyes he was sitting on his bed. Let's go. Talk to the local snake charmer. Naruto rolled off his bed and left his room to where Anko's room was. Naruto looked at the door which had a giant A for Anko on it. He raised his hand and knocked on the door. Inari. I already told you that you're not allowed to ride my snakes until you finish puberty. Anko shouted from the other side of the door. It's the one and only Naruto. After his words, Naruto heard fumbling around and the sound of things falling along with cursing from the other side of the door. He chuckled to himself at Anko. He really missed her. It had been a week and 3 days since he had seen Anko since the Jonin was out on a mission when he came back. The door swung open to reveal Anko Mitarashi. Her purple hair was flowing down her back. Instead of wearing the black and purple trench coat Naruto had given her, Anko was wearing a full-body fishnet that covered her top and bottom. Over this was a midnight purple baggy shirt that went past her waist and stopped at her mid-thigh. Anko's honey-colored eyes that were beauty at its finest were wide in surprise. Then Naruto-kun. Anko whispered in surprise, happiness, and confusion. It had been such a long time since she had seen her boyfriend. Not since that dreadful time in the office. I'm sorry. Naruto bowed his head to Anko while apologizing. Anko looked at Naruto, who was bowing his head to her. She hadn't seen Naruto bow to her since the woman had first become his sensei. Anko knew why Naruto was here apologizing to her. It was when he had blown her into the wall and just left without checking to see if she was okay. Which she wasn't. Anko let a smirk cross her face and then pulled Naruto into her room. She closed the door and pulled Naruto to the bed. Pushing him on his back, Anko straddled Naruto's waist and looked down at him with crossed arms. Naruto was about to put his hands on Anko's thick thighs, like he would always do when she laid atop of him. However, he stopped himself and simply let his hands rest at his side. Not even going to touch me? Anko quipped, a little annoyed that Naruto was acting like this. But she also felt a little happy that he cared this much and would willingly restrict himself and admit he was wrong, unlike most men these days. I don't deserve to. Naruto said while looking away from Anko. Anko leaned down and grabbed Naruto's face with her two hands, causing him to look directly at her. Naruto-kun, I forgive you. But I don't forgive myself. Not only did I hurt you, but also said some uncalled for things to Kasumi-chan. Did she forgive you? Naruto closed his eyes and a smile came to his face. Yes. So why can't you smile when I try to apologize? Anko asked Naruto softly. Because I promised to keep you girls safe, but I did the opposite. Naruto answered sadly. But I'm fine now. Anko smiled at Naruto, who only gave a half smile back. I forgive you and always will. The purple-haired woman came down and connected her lips with Naruto's in a passionate kiss. The feeling was overwhelming for both of them. I've missed that. Naruto gave Anko a loving smile that made Anko's heart skip a beat. His smile was really a national treasure. Anko then got a mischievous smile. There is still more you have to do in order to make it up to me. Anko said and raised up from Naruto's face and got back to her other position. I'll do anything. Naruto told Anko with determination. This caused Anko to laugh before she got a perverted grin. We will make love and you must call me mistress the whole time. Naruto looked up at Anko before he laughed. He knew something like this was going to happen once he saw the perverted grin on Anko's face. This was going to be easy and he'd make sure Anko had a great time. As you wish, mistress. Naruto ran his hands up Anko's thick thighs and leaned up to plant kisses all along Anko's jawline and neck. Lemon. Anko took her shirt off and allowed her breast to bounce before they were grabbed and massaged by Naruto in a loving embrace. This caused Anko to moan in pleasure at the feeling she was getting from Naruto. Does this feel good, mistress? Naruto whispered in a sexy tone in Anko's ear. Why yes, pleasure your mistress. Anko moved her hands to Naruto's well-toned chest and quickly took his shirt off and threw it on the ground. The two then began to engage in a fierce kiss of lust and love. Naruto ripped Anko's fishnet clean off, making the women yelp in surprise. So wild. Anko moaned in happiness. Anko was then pushed on her back while being kissed all over by Naruto. Anko was moaning like crazy and arching her back in pleasure. Anything to please you. Naruto raised up and took off his pants, and this allowed Anko to see his dick, which was twitching and ready to go. Naruto hovered over Anko and aimed his dick at her entrance. How do you want it? Naruto asked with a smirk. Let's just go slow right now. Anko said and wrapped her arms around his neck. As you wish, mistress. Naruto slowly pushed himself inside Anko, causing the woman to let out a small scream of pleasure. That's the stuff. Naruto groaned before he slowly pulled out and thrust back into Anko, who screamed in pleasure. The two then began to make slow love to each other in this position. 10 minutes later Anko was a reverse cowgirl bouncing her ass up and down on Naruto's man-meat. Oh, that feels so good. Anko screamed as Naruto began to meet her thrust with his own. Glad you are enjoying yourself, mistress. 30 minutes later Naruto was standing and holding Anko under her thighs while he thrust up into her, and the sexy woman would let out a moan of pleasure each time. How does it feel, mistress? It feels great. Keep pleasing me. 20 minutes later Anko was back on the bed with her tongue hanging from her mouth and tits bouncing like crazy. Naruto had Anko's legs on his shoulder while he was pumping into her at a stable pace. Here it comes. Naruto leaned down and placed his arms on the side of Anko and picked up the pace, making Anko scream in euphoria. Inside. Do it inside. Anko wrapped her legs around Naruto's back. The two linked lips and moaned together and Naruto released his cum inside of Anko. Lemon over. After a cold shower and a little more fooling around, Naruto was back in his room and was finally going to go see the Rogacha. Naruto was in his closet trying to figure out what he was going to wear and was finding it hard since he had a lot of outfits. A regular ninja would dress ready for a battle, but Naruto was not a regular ninja and just had to be different. Knock knock knock. The blonde turned to his door with a raised eyebrow. Come on in, Kin-chan. His door opened and the slim figure combined with the long black hair and maid outfit of Kin came into his vision. "Hello, great master." Kin beamed with a bright smile and bow. "What's going on, my beautiful servant?" Naruto gave the young mate an excited grin and peace sign. "Well, I've come to give you a new outfit, I made it myself." Kin chattered on with a radiant smile and stars in her eyes. "Oh well, if you made it, it must be good. Let's see it." Naruto smiled. Kin pulled out a white box from behind her and laid it on Naruto's bed. "Prepare yourself, this will knock your socks off." Naruto moved closer so he could see the great reveal. Kin took off a top and it revealed a black, luxurious kimono with wide edges and possessed big arm sleeves. On the left side of the chest was a red Uzumaki swirl and the same thing on the right side. A black obi wrapped around the waist and to finish it all was a pearl white haori which possessed a white fur collar. "Oh shit. This is nice." Naruto picked it up and looked at every inch of it. "It pleases me greatly that you like my gift, Naruto-sama." Kin clapped her hands together and did a happy dance inside her head. "Let's put this on right now." Naruto undressed in a second, leaving his naked form in front of Kin, who began to blush up a storm. No matter how many times she had made love with her master or seen him naked, his glorious form still left her speechless. "Oh okay, master." Kin walked over to the clothes and began to get Naruto dressed. Outside the village, Itachi leaned against a tree with his eyes closed and a slight frown on his lips. It had been 1 hour and 28 minutes since he had sent that bird to Naruto's compound. He even sent a slight threat to show Naruto how serious he was. But all he got for his efforts was a crying flying bird. Maybe if he had asked nicely and not tried to threaten Naruto, they could have already gotten this out of the way. All he wanted to do was talk to Naruto about the death of his brother. It was true that Sasuke was a traitor to the village and in league with another traitor, but he figured that since he was the last Uchiha, there would be some kind of leeway. But he should have known better. It was Naruto Uzumaki who encountered Sasuke after all. Naruto was one of the strongest ninja the world had ever seen, along with being the most cruel and merciless. At just 14 years old, the boy was already on the front lines of war and killing high-profile ninjas. Many thought that the high-profile, bloody path and tough life would crush the boy and he would only become a shell of his former self like most ninja. He was one of the people that thought the boy would not make it. After fighting him twice and feeling the bloodlust and power from the boy was a real slap of reality for the Uchiha. Itachi then felt the unmistakable chakra of Naruto Uzumaki. He's not even trying to suppress himself. Itachi thought to himself as he straightened up and prepared himself for battle if necessary. Maybe Naruto was allowing him to feel his power as a reminder. To know who it is he's about to speak with. "Grab your weapons when you see Naruto." The white-cloaked blonde came from the woods rapping a tune. "Call for backup when you see Naruto." He sang once again. Itachi looked curious at what the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was going on about. Not to mention his state of dress. Itachi could see no weapon or any sign that would make him think Naruto was here to fight. Does he not see me as a threat? What is he going on about? Itachi felt his Uchiha pride suffer several lethal blows. To be passed off by a boy who was the same age as his younger brother really did numbers on his self-esteem. It was then he felt the urge to prove himself, but then the domineering power of Naruto came to his senses once again. It seems it was more of a reminder to his enemies. "What's good with you, Itachi? Still running with them faggots?" Naruto sat down on a throne of water and looked at Itachi with a grin. "Naruto Uzumaki." Itachi said blankly and looked at Naruto with his Sharingan. "That's my name, don't wear it out." "What took you so long? I called you here 1 hour and 34 minutes ago." Itachi expressed with the emotion of a brick wall. "Well, I was going down on my girl and one of my clan members got me this new outfit. I just had to give her my thanks." Which was true. Naruto had to give Kin a reward for her hard efforts. All the girl wanted was to watch a movie together while she got to make him clothes from time to time. Itachi did not need to know he had sex with one of his girlfriends. That would explain why Naruto was late and in such a good mood. He came to the conclusion that this was Naruto's first time. This explained everything now, including the good mood Naruto was in. But he was not here for that. "Do you know why I am here?" Itachi questioned Naruto with a glare. Naruto put a finger to his chin and thawed in him. "It's because I killed your brother." That seemed to be what Itachi was looking for since his glare became more intense. "Why did you do it?" Itachi voiced with a stern tone and his finger twitched just the slightest. "What kind of question is that? The little shit was a rogue ninja who was allied with Orochimaru. What kind of leaf ninja would I be if I didn't kill him?" Naruto scoffed. Maybe if Sasuke just ran away from the village and did his own thing, he would have considered capturing him. That was when he remembered what the dead Uchiha said. Not to mention, he dared to insult me and my clan. I just had to take his head off. Itachi looked down at the answer he heard from Naruto. It was true that his brother was a traitor of the highest caliber. Not only because he was the last of the clan, but because he was working with Orochimaru. It appears Naruto was just doing his duty as a leaf ninja and clan head. But that does not mean he likes it. What if I said I wanted to kill you and take revenge for my brother? Itachi asked Naruto with a serious voice. Naruto threw his head back in laughter. He grabbed his stomach in an attempt to ease the pain from the laughter. The blonde stopped and flicked his wrist, allowing Bongxian to appear and the thin sword to shine brightly. Itachi, you know as good as I do. This is not what you want. Fighting me would only send you to your brother faster, unless that's what you want. Naruto told Itachi condescendingly. He would simply take off Itachi's head in an instant and go home like nothing happened. Itachi looked down at those words. What was he thinking? Fighting Naruto in his condition was suicide to say the least. Listen Itachi, I imagine you are in shambles right now. Your little brother is dead. And for some reason you seem to care. This does not match what everyone knows about Itachi Uchiha, the clan slayer. Naruto crossed his arms and looked at him with a frown. Naruto did not like Itachi because he killed his family, which was a big no for someone like Naruto who was an orphan. I did what I had to. It was for the village. Itachi told Naruto emotionlessly. But when is it enough? From what you say, it sounds like you were ordered to kill your clan, which sounds crazy. A frown appeared on Naruto's lips. To think this was something that the old monkey would approve of. If so, that is a whole other situation, and I don't care enough to actually check. The fact that you haven't denied what I said means it is true. But since you seem to not be 100% loyal to them faggots, tell me some information. Naruto created a chair for Itachi and used wind chakra to push him down in it. The two then went on to converse about that S-rank group which would soon be no more. Naruto received some vital information about the remaining members. But what really surprised him was the information about the masked man being Madara Uchiha. At first Naruto was ecstatic at being able to face someone who could give him a good challenge, but was saddened when Kasumi told him it was some poser. Itachi told Naruto that they had teamed up with Kabuto and planned to launch a full war on the nations. Itachi did not know how they would do it, but only that it was going to happen. But the real surprise was that the hidden stone village was working with them. Itachi also handed Naruto a crow with a Mangekyo Sharingan in it. Itachi said it was just in case. Thanks for this information, it will surely help us in the future. Naruto got up and stretched. Yes, this went better than I thought it would. Itachi said and bowed his head to Naruto. Say, if you come to the village there might be a way to save your sick ass. Naruto joked with a grin. No, I will suffer through this pain and take it as my punishment. I knew you were going to say some fruity shit like that. But it's your life. See ya. Naruto then jetted up to the sky and flew off. A strange person that Uzumaki is. Itachi let a slight smile curve on his lips. He then turned around and walked in the opposite direction of the village. In a remote location, there were two figures talking to each other. I've got something that will help us in this battle. The hooded form of Kabuto said, and a forked tongue came from under the hood. Just show it already. Toby orders Kabuto to get on with it. He had to deal with the snake's prideful boasting all the way over to this graveyard. Alright, you don't seem to be in a good mood, is that because of a certain blonde? Kabuto teased with a grin. Just show it. Toby jumped at Kabuto in an attempt to grab him by the throat and choke the life out of him. Kabuto slithered back and slammed his hands together. The ground rumbled and from it rose 3 coffins. The lids to them fell to the ground and it revealed the form of Sasori, Deidara, and Kakazu. Our members have come back to life in order to help us achieve our goals. Kabuto cheered. You called me out here for these 3. They won't change a thing. Toby turned his back and began to walk away. Still not satisfied, don't worry. This will surely bring you to your limit. Kabuto brought his hands together and licked his lips in excitement. The ground shook again and another coffin rose. The lid exploded off and someone stepped out. Finally, I've made my great return. A deep voice sounded. Toby began to shake intensely while his Sharingan eye was wide as it could be. Where did you find his body? Toby questioned Kabuto. The long-haired man turned his sharp gaze to Toby who stiffened. Obito, why was I brought back like this? Things have not been going well. Obito answered his former teacher. What do you mean? How many tailed beasts have you captured? Where is Nagato? Madara threw out questions in a rapid succession. There are no tailed beasts currently captured. Kabuto answered with more excitement than needed. What? Obito, what the hell have you been doing all this time? Madara asked Obito angrily and blasting the man with a tremendous amount of killing intent. It's not my fault, the 9 tails Jinchuriki has been getting in the way of everything. Obito tried to defend himself from the wrath of the legendary Uchiha. And what have you done to solve this? Madara asked angrily. Nothing. Kabuto sang. He was really not helping and only making things worse. You're pathetic, I will go lay this brat to rest myself. Madara said and got ready to leap off. Whoa, whoa. Kabuto made a hand sign and restricted Madara's movements. It was harder than he thought though, because Madara was fighting back and glaring at the hidden snake. Kabuto was in cold sweat as he wrestled control over Madara. I wouldn't do that if I were you, that brat is the strongest man alive at the moment. If you rush over there head first, you will no doubt be defeated in a pathetic way. What are you saying? No one is stronger than I, Madara. With a shout and burst of power he released the grip Kabuto had on his soul. His eternal light made way to the world and he glared down at Kabuto with his head held high. Know your place. Just wait, you can capture him at the 5-cage summit that is going to take place soon. The sound of crying could be heard coming from the living room of the Uzumaki compound. Naruto-sama, I am sure she will forgive you in time. Shizune said, trying to comfort the sad Naruto. She was running her hands through his hair. Naruto was laying face first into Shinzune's lap. He was sad. Why? But Rukia-chan hates me. Come on, I'm sure it's not that bad. Taiya waved off Naruto while laying on the couch in pajama clothes. It was her day off and had to listen to her man cry like a baby. But she won't even talk to me. The muffled voice of Naruto sounded from Shizune's lap. Her black and white maid outfit was getting wet and would surely need to be washed after this. Naruto-sama. I am sure you are overreacting. Ino came into the room and placed her hands on her slim waist. Nan. The crying blonde replied in a childish tone. Don't worry Pops. I'll go kick some sense into her for you. Inari patted his chest. He was the man of the house when Naruto was gone after all. So it was his job to make sure everything was running smoothly. You make me so proud. Naruto turned his head in Shizune's lap and gave his son a grin. Just be careful, you know Rukia-chan has that gorilla strength. Naruto warned his adoptive son. Inari scoffed. You see these? Inari flexed in his white muscle shirt. He was 13 but had impressive muscles for his age. She won't know what hit her. Inari ran off to Rukia's room with big steps and confidence shining bright. That kid's going to get his ass kicked. Taiya laughed. Yay, she loved the brat like her little brother, but he was way over his head. Her little snowflake was a real monster. Hey yo. Kurenai came through the sliding door of the front. The woman had a smile at being able to come home from that long mission. There was nothing like getting home after a long day of work and laying down for the first time. Ayo. Everyone chimed in with a smile. This was something everyone did when they got home in the compound. Kurenai plopped down next to Taiya on the couch. The redeed laid into Kurenai's lap. So what did I miss? Kurenai asked while laying her head back and twirling Taiya's long red hair. Just our future husband crying like a bitch. Taiya received a pinch on the cheek for her comment. Language young lady. Kurenai glared down at Taiya. The dirty mouth redeed simply waved off Kurenai. The woman could really have a stick up her ass, that was when Naruto wasn't up to it. Yay sis, I'll try to watch my mouth next time. Taiya drawled. You said that yesterday. Kurenai was reprimanded. Until she sighed and laid her head back. This girl was really stubborn. Just like most of this Uzumaki clan she found herself being a part of. They then all heard a scream and thud came from Rukia's room. What was that? Kurenai asked on guard. Probably Inari-kun getting beat up by Rukia-chan. Ino sighed. That kid is really hard-headed. They want to talk. Shizune said with a teasing glint in her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? Ino bellowed in anger and a fist waving in the air. It means what she said. Taiya smirked at the platinum blonde in Kurenai's lap. Just when Ino was about to say something back to Taiya, Inari came stumbling back in the living room. Except, he was different. The boy's head was encased in a giant block of ice. Inari let out some inaudible words due to his head being covered in ice. Taiya busted out laughing and rolled on the floor while crying tears. Naruto also put his head back in Shizune's lap to hide his laughing face. Shizune looked the other way and held it together a lot better than everyone else who was laughing. Inari, feeling disrespected, got angry and vowed to invoke his wrath on his family. It was something Naruto had taught everyone of the clan. Anyone who disrespects you should be dealt with. So Inari would now follow those words until he couldn't anymore. He scanned the room with his shaky head, looking for the closest person to him. It was Taiya. She was also laughing the hardest at him, so Inari would make sure to hit her where it hurts. The blockhead boy ran or wobbled to Taiya until he was standing over her. What do you want, ice cone? Taiya laughed at her joke. Inari didn't say anything and only took a great jump into the air. His vision locked onto Taiya. The boy fell down like a bird about to swoop down on its prey. Inari had his ice head aimed towards the gut of Taiya and had a smirk on his face. Inari then impacted with Taiya's gut. The redhead's eyes widened to a large amount and she turned pale and fell over. Inari got up and flexed his muscles once again. That's what happens when you mess with the top dog. Inari stroked his ego more than he should have in this situation. But since no one could hear him, he had to speak to himself. The boy then felt an ominous presence behind him. Inari turned his head shaky. Ai's eyes were red and her hair flailed in anger while swaying like crimson foxtails. She pulled a knife out of nowhere and got ready to deal some real damage to Inari. Without wasting a single second, Inari blasted out the door like a rocket. He began to scream his head off at Ai, chasing him with clear signs of murder in her eyes. Well, that escalated quickly, Ino said while blinking owlishly. They all turned to the hallway and saw Rukia walking out with her sword spirit out behind her. Rukia-chan. I'm sorry for coming in without knocking, Naruto told his daughter with an apologetic face. Rukia's stern face softened and she looked at her dad. It's okay father, I forgive you. It was only by mistake. Upon hearing Rukia's words, Naruto's face took on a more delightful appearance. That was until her sandal met his face and Naruto's head was spinning while smoke came from the point of impact. Yeah right. As if I'd say something like that after you did what you did. Rukia yelled with womanly fury towards her dad who was laying on the ground crying in tears. Rukia then took a deep breath and relaxed herself. You have to give me my privacy, I am a growing woman who needs her own space. You can't just come into my room like you did when I was younger. Rukia walked over and gave Naruto a hug. I'm sorry for being so mad at you, I just freaked out and pushed you away because I was embarrassed. Rukia said in an apologetic voice. Naruto embraced the hug and gave a happy smile. Don't worry Rukia-chan, I forgive you. The blonde then got a teasing smirk on his face. At least I won't have to worry about you getting a boyfriend since your body hasn't developed. Rukia got a tick mark on her head and her spiritual pressure flared to life. You dug your own grave on this one master. Shirayuki thought in pity for Naruto. He could be so stupid sometimes. But she still found herself caring for the blonde. Rukia, much like Naruto, performed a drop kick and sent Naruto crashing outside. What was she doing apologizing to her father, he really got on her last nerve sometimes. Rukia got up and walked to her room with steam blowing out her ears. One of these days, she was gonna kill Naruto. It was going so well. Shizune sighed sadly. He really dropped the bag on that one. Ino shook her head in disappointment. It was then they heard the front door slide open. Then walked to Hokage with a drink in her hand. Hey yo. Tsunade yelled with a grin on her face. This was the best part about walking into this house. Ayo. What brings you by Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked. Tsunade waved her off. Please Kurenai, when I'm in here it's just Tsunade. She didn't really enjoy being called that by her family and close friends. Anyways, where is Naruto? We have to get to the 5-cage summit. Are you sure you should be drinking while going to such an important meeting? Shizune asked with a somewhat glare towards her teacher. This was just like the old times. PFFT, this is the perfect reason to drink. It's going to be a meeting between all the cage. No doubt some shit is going to pop off. Tsunade responded. Things like this always went off the deep end with no chance of seeing the surface again. Even still, you should show up looking your best. Shizune tried to explain to Tsunade but was cut off when she received a smack to her rear end, causing Shizune to go red and let a cute squeal to escape from her throat. Relax babe, mom isn't going to budge and in fact. Naruto walked over to a cabinet and opened it revealing some saucers and Hennessy. She has the right idea. Naruto poured him and his mom a cup and they toasted before drinking with happy smiles on their faces. My god, these two are really going to represent our village at this meeting. Kurenai face-palmed and felt a sinking feeling in her gut. But about this meeting mom, who is the other person you are bringing with you? Naruto questioned with an arm around his mother's shoulder. Tsunade held a thinking gaze. She would have to bring two of her most powerful ninjas and Naruto was a no-brainer. Well I was going to bring Kakashi and you, but I have this feeling that shit will go off the deep end. So how about you and Karen? Tsunade chirped at the end with a wink. Ah, two perfect Jinchuriki and Uzumaki. What a devastating combo. Naruto and Tsunade let out loud laughs that echo throughout the whole compound. Just let me go grab Karen. Naruto said and then disappeared in a blue flash. Hyuga compound. Naruto appeared behind Karen who was in nothing but a red underwear and bra. The girl let out a scream and delivered a chakra empower slap to Naruto's face, but he didn't flinch and kept his eyes on her. Thanks to his girlfriend's scream, Neji came running into the room with his Byakugan activated and chakra ready to be unleashed. He then saw Naruto looking at Karen half naked. Naruto. What are you doing? Neji screamed and would have attacked if he didn't remember who Naruto was. Well I was coming to get my sister since we have to guard mom at the 5-cage summit. Naruto drawled in deadpan. This was something and he had a good idea at what these two were about to do. Why can't you use the door like a normal person? Karen screamed and shook her hand to free the pain she was feeling from slapping Naruto. The guy was tougher than the hardest metal and built like a mountain. Still. I don't want you to see my girlfriend half naked. Neji moved Karen behind him. Neji took off his already loose robe and wrapped it around Karen to snuggle into it with a blush on her face. Neji was not the most emotional person, but when he was, it was also that much better. "Sorry," Naruto said in deadpan. "At least turn around." Neji shouted in outrage and a tick mark. Karen just sighed at her brother. He was a pervert and that was all there was to it. He'd have sex with his real mother if he could. Little did Karen know. "How long until we leave?" Karen sighed out. "Like right now, so be quick." Just like Neji is. Naruto left in a blue flash back to his compound with his final words being given. "Jazz, your brother is a handful," Neji said and pulled Karen to him. "Did you not hear what he said just now?" Karen asked while laying her head on Neji's chest. "No. He said for me to come quick just like you always do." Neji stayed silent for a while as he processed the words and any hidden meanings that he might be able to find. Come quick. A light bulb went off in Neji's head as he finally understood what Naruto said. "That mongrel." Neji roared out in anger. Karen just laughed to herself at how easily it was to rile up her boyfriend. It was something Naruto took advantage of every time. After Neji's defeat to Naruto and running countless missions with the blonde, Neji slowly let go of his hatred for the main branch and Fate Complex. It was also thanks to his little apprentice in Ranmaru. He took the boy under his wing and began to train him in the false claims of being the servant of Ranmaru. Hinata did not like this and vowed to change everything along with Naruto. Neji hoped that day would come soon. Village gates. The whole village was gathered to give farewells to the Hokage and her guards. "Have a safe trip. We'll miss you, Naruto-sama. Make sure to kick their asses if a fight breaks out." These were only some of the things being shouted in the large group of people. Naruto had a smirk on his face. He was now wearing his blue battle armor with Kasumi wrapped around his neck, giving him an orange fur pelt. Under his armor was black undershirt and pants. He was wearing a black glove on his left hand. His blade was on his waist concealed in its sheath, humming in excitement for the bloodshed that was no doubt to come. Karen was next to Naruto and in similar battle armor, except hers was lava red in color and possessed a white fur pelt. She was wearing a black long sleeve under her armor and skirt that was covered by the bottom of her armor, leaving her long legs to be shown and give a certain Hyuga show. On her lower back rested a long sword with a red handle and golden feather tail resting on the end by a string. "Okay Naruto, take us there," Tsunade said and turned to the smirking blonde. Roger. Naruto replied in a robotic tone and gave a salute. 2 clones popped into existence. They picked the 2 women up in bridal-style carries and began to float in the sky. "We'll be back soon, Konoha," Tsunade yelled to everyone below her before she was cut off by Naruto as he blasted off in a trail of blue light. Flying over the lands of the elemental nations never got old and the view was always something to behold. That was until Naruto went through hand signs and spoke the name of the jutsu. Storm release. Flying thunder. Under Naruto formed a dark gray storm cloud big enough for them all to rest on. He landed on the cloud and his clone set the other 2 women down on the soft cloud. "Naruto, what is this?" Karen poked and sensed the cloud. "It's a jutsu from my bloodline. I just make a cloud made from storms and we ride on top of it like this," Naruto replied while lying on his back. "Well, it is certainly great for travel," Tsunade said and laid next to Naruto, followed by Karen who did the same. Iron Country. Outside the gates of Iron Country sat 2 samurai gate guards. They looked up into the normally gray clouds that were raining snow. They then saw a cloud that looked as if it didn't belong. "Is it me, or does that cloud seem to be rumbling like thunder? It also is moving incredibly fast." The 2 noted and then saw the cloud plummet to the ground with great speeds. And the faint sound of screams could be heard coming from the cloud. Before the cloud impacted with the ground, 3 figures jumped off it and watched the cloud disappear like it didn't exist. Well, that was weird. The blue flash appeared in front of them, putting the 2 guards on alert. They almost dropped their weapons when they saw Naruto standing in front of them. "Then Naruto Uzumaki," the guard stuttered out. "Yup, that's me, we are here for the summit," Naruto acknowledged. "Alright." The guard saw Tsunade Senju, the 5th Hokage, and Karen Uzumaki, the container of the 4-tailed monkey, Son Goku. He allowed them to pass. Once they all walked into the snowy village, they soon went to their hotel to chill until the time of the meeting. And now was the time. "Alright, Naruto, stay on your best behavior." Tsunade fixed Naruto with a stern glare. Naruto had the nerve to look offended. "What are you talking about, Mom? I am a well-mannered young man." Karen looked at Naruto as if he had grown a second head. That was bullshit and even Naruto knew that. "Just don't be making comments and leave that stone Kunoichi alone." Tsunade gave Naruto another stern glare. Those 2 in the same room was a fight waiting to happen. They were somewhat rivals in bloodlines. It didn't help that Naruto always found some way to tease her. Whether it be his lewd remarks, arrogant attitude, or just beating her every time they fight. That would be hard, I just can't resist messing with Kuro-chan. Naruto said in a helpless manner. If this was another life, those two would most likely be a married couple with the way they argue. Let's go. Tsunade said and walked out the room. Why was she trying? This was going to be a shit show anyways. All the cage could be seen seated at a circular table with their two guards behind them in an upper part of the room. The cage had their hats resting on the table while everyone just stared at each other. So Reikage-sama, since you called this meeting, can you tell us what is going on? Mifune, the leader of the Iron Country, asked in a polite tone. The man nodded in respect to the country's leader. A then turned to Tsunade with a questioning look. Have you received word from my brother? That in the problem about the Akatsuki is why I called this meeting. A bellowed in a hard tone. Yes, I have. Naruto over there tells me that B was traveling and handing out concert tickets. He claimed to feel trapped inside the walls of the village. Tsunade had to fight hard not to laugh or even chuckle. That man B was such a handful, she was glad Naruto was at least present. Tsunade don't know, Naruto-kun is not here. Mei said in a deadpan. Did the Hokage have a couple of drinks before coming here? Well, she did as well. Tsunade and Karen slowly turned to the spot Naruto is supposed to be with blank faces. Like Mei said, Naruto was not standing behind her like he should have. It was then Tsunade clenched her hand causing veins to appear and her chakra to vibrate around her body. Karen quickly sensed all of Iron Country for Naruto's chakra signature and only sided where the troublesome blonde was. That damn idiot, I'm going to wrap my hands around his neck and never let go. Tsunade said quietly, not wanting to lose her temper in front of such important figures. I'm right here. Naruto said from behind Kuretsuchi. Like Naruto had done many times before, he delivered a nice smack to the ass of the stone Kunoichi. Just like he remembered, her ass was tight and firm but still round and juicy. It was one of her best features if Naruto was being honest, right next to her lovable personality. Nice and firm, just how I like it. Naruto grinned next to the young woman. Kuretsuchi was feeling utterly embarrassed. She was a whole new shade of red. Not only did Naruto smack her ass for like the 100th time, he did it in front of all the cage and her grandfather. I'll definitely kill that bird brain for this. She thought in anger as her hair flickered red and an intense heat picked up. No way, don't tell me. Naruto thought in growing excitement. He knew exactly what this rise and flow of chakra meant. An excited grin grew on his face as he could feel his chakra react and begin to flow in anticipation for a fight. You brat. What the hell are you doing? Inoki shouted in anger and floated from his seat. Thanks to Inoki's shout, Kuretsuchi snapped back into attention. She lowered her chakra and turned her red cheeks to Naruto and gave him an angry glare. She sent a punch as quick as lightning to Naruto's head but like many times, Naruto dodged and floated over to Tsunade's side of the room. You're so dead. Kuretsuchi shouted to Naruto with her fist covered in dripping lava. Why so hostile, little bee, I am just trying to get hot and heavy with you. Naruto sent the girl a playful wink. God damn it. She hated this fucking blonde. Always making her blush no matter how hard she tried to fight it. Even when they were in a life and death battle, he was quick to make a joke. Ahem, can we get back to the point of this meeting? Mifune asked, but it sounded more like a demand. Yes, let's. Gaara's calm voice spoke up for the first time. He was not surprised at all by the events happening right now. This was really the only outcome when you put the leaf and stone in the same room. And on top of that, Tsunade brought Naruto of all people with her. Bringing him was like saying bring it bitch. None in their right mind would openly try to attack with the world's most battle-hungry damn near crazy man in the room. What do we have here? Not having a meeting without me are we? The deep voice of Toby came from a swirling vortex. You're right on time bitch. Naruto said with a smirk towards Toby. There was nothing like disrespecting your enemy before stomping a mudhole in their ass. Ah, Nine Tails. Toby slightly glared towards Naruto. This boy was really getting on his last nerve. Still with that. I may have 6 wings, but 9 tails I do not have. Naruto grabbed Kasumi from his shoulder and held her in front of him. But this little minx here happens to have 9 tails. Naruto said with a devilish smirk and spoke in a teasing tone of voice. Kasumi's one tail turned into 9 and they swung around in the air. You've been after me all this time, and I'm right here. Kasumi's voice was also teasing and playful. It was her nature after all to be this way. The Obito from behind his mask narrowed his eyes at the beast in front of him. Without thinking much on it, Obito dashed towards Naruto with speeds that no one could track in an attempt to catch Naruto off guard and snatch the 9 tails right from under Naruto's nose. Naruto only smirked wider as he spun and avoided Obito. Oh, you got to be quicker than that. Naruto baited Obito even more by tossing Kasumi up and down in his hand. Obito growled and launched himself at even faster speeds towards Naruto, who simply evaded him once again. But like air, Naruto simply disappeared and floated back to the ground from the ceiling. "Oh, you almost had it." Naruto and Kasumi let out mocking laughter at Obito, who was snarling behind his mask. Kasumi then went back into the seal as Naruto's face became serious in a matter of seconds. "I've got a deal for you, bitch." Naruto's tone was dead serious and lacked any kind of playfulness. "Why would I make any kind of deal with you? You're soon going to be dead." Obito asked just as seriously. Standing here would allow Obito to somehow think of a plan and allow the things he had behind the scenes to be set in motion. Naruto reached behind him and pulled out the special eyes he had been saving for this moment. Naruto saw everyone's eyes go wide in the room and release a gasp. "Oh yay, the Rinnegan. Divot." Obito barked in anger. "I will, just make this deal with me," Naruto said with a menacing smirk. Tsunade had enough and rose to her feet. "Naruto. What do you think you're doing?" "Quiet, I'm just trying to enjoy myself," Naruto said with a cold edge to his tone. He had never used this tone with his mother, so it came as a shock to Tsunade. "What deal would you like to make?" Toby asked. "I will give you these eyes if you take off your mask and implant these in your head right now so we can fight." Naruto revealed the deal to a surprised Obito, but he wasn't the only one because all the cage and guards were shocked into silence. What is he playing at? This seems too good to be true. But this is something this maniac would do for a good fight. Obito went over the possibilities in his head. He activates his Manjutsu Sharingan and scanned the eyes floating like small rocks in the water. "I can't see anything wrong with my eyes, and if everything is as simple as it sounds, I have no reason not to accept." With the real Madara being brought back to life now, his game of playing as Madara was over. "You got a deal." Obito put his hand up and removed the orange mask. This allowed everyone to see his heavily scarred face. "You one ugly son of a bitch." Naruto blinked at the man in front of him. "What's your name, shithead?" "It doesn't matter, just hand me the eyes so I can kill you." Obito held his hand out for Naruto to hand him the jar. With a simple flick of his wrist, Naruto sent the jar flying towards Obito, who caught it. Obito scanned the eyes once again just to be sure. Like last time, he didn't see anything wrong with them. Without wasting much time, Obito plucked out his right eye and quickly placed in the Rinnegan. Like a broken dam, the power flowed into Obito like raging rapids. He began to laugh evilly as he could now complete his plans. Naruto then began to match his laugh with his own grin. "Naruto. Do you know what you've done?" Tsunade shouted and was going to charge him, but was held back by a chakra chain from Karen. The Redeed had a small smirk on her face and sent the Hokage a wink. She had felt it at the last second. "Laughing at your demise. That's so like you." Obito laughs in victory. "You just don't get it, do you?" Naruto still laughed. "This fool. What are you talking about? Do you really think I would hand over those eyes to you without taking proper measures? You dumb bitch." Naruto began to slowly raise his hand in a half-ram seal. "There is no way I can forgive the person who was the cause of both my parents' deaths, Obito-cha. And what of it? You don't stand a chance against me at this point." Obito proclaimed with arrogance all in his tone. "You die here," Naruto said in a fierce tone and channeled his chakra. It was then Obito began to catch on to what Naruto was trying to do. He was going to blow the eyes up in his head while killing him at the same time. "Die." Naruto's tone was murderous and cold. With the last shout, Obito's head exploded in a blood mist and chunks of his brain scattered all around the room. "Ah, now this might be one of my favorite kills," Naruto said in bliss. He had managed to get revenge on this bastard for killing his parents. "And Naruto?" Tsunade stuttered out. The mentioned blonde turned to his busty mom and walked over. He gave her a hug and kiss on the forehead. "I'm sorry for acting out like I did." "You idiot, why didn't you inform me of your plan?" Tsunade said and hugged him back. "It was best if you didn't know, it would make the situation much more believable." Naruto patted her head. "Damn. This brat killed him, he was our plan to win this. I've got no choice, the other guy will just have to pull his weight." Inoki activated a hand sign under his desk. Karen felt the chakra spike and turned her red eyes to the old man. What die Karen was cut off when an explosion outside rocked the room and she felt the massive chakra of someone outside along with countless others. "Ah, you bastard." Inoki flew from his seat and held his hands up and performed the particle dismantling jutsu. Inoki shot out the white beam towards Naruto and then it expanded to hit the whole room and wipe out all the cage in one blow. "Grandfather, so we are really going through with this?" Kuritsuchi said with hesitant and slight sadness in her tone. She may have hated Naruto right now, but they were friends of opposite sides. "Yes. Now is not the time to feel sad, I am sure that brat won't be out from that." Inoki snapped at his granddaughter. "Make sure you kill him this time," he ordered Kuritsuchi in a stern tone of voice. "Yes." she said seriously and left in a puddle of lava. She felt a pit of sadness in her stomach for what she had to do. But I also did not want to do this. Why couldn't her old man just see the error in his ways and apologize? None of this would have happened if he didn't attack during the Chunin exams. Naruto appeared outside the now blown-up chambers with all the Kage, Mifune and guards. He had shadow clones grab them while he took Tsunade and Karen. That old fool, what is he thinking? Naruto looked at the building which had a hole in it from Inoki's attack and was falling apart due to the heavy damage it suffered. Naruto and Karen's head snapped to the roof of the building where someone with an incredibly large chakra was standing. It was a man with long black spiky hair and red armor. His arms were crossed and he had a Sharingan activated while a white gunbai rested on his back. This is perfect, the 5 Kage and the Storm of the Leaf. The 9 tails and 4 tails. Did Christmas come early? It was Madara Uchiha and he looked menacing. His red eyes gleamed in the snowy weather. Who are you? Mei shouted to the man. I am Madara Uchiha. Now, who wants to dance? He asked with a dark smirk. Naruto stepped up with an excited grin. This was Madara fucking Uchiha. The rival to the first Hokage. No way he was missing this dance. You want to dance? I don't think you can keep up with my steps. HMPH, I've been dancing before you were even born, child. Madara replied with arrogance. He was looking at Naruto with interest. Oh yay. Naruto raised his chakra to monstrous levels as it took life behind him and the ghostly figure of a thunderbird with its 6 wings spread and let out a powerful screech that caused the air to ripple and ground to tremble. Now that's impressive. Madara said giddy. This kid's chakra was really something to behold. He was getting excited. If Madara had blood, he was sure it would be on fire right now. Snatching the gunbai off his back, he got ready to do battle. His eyes evolved into the famed Rinnegan and he launched himself down with a grin. Naruto wasted no time and shot upwards with a chaotic grin and eyes glowing a fierce blue. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed the story, then hit the like button and comment your favorite part, but for now see you all in the next video.